Hey there, it's Austin Bach doing my first Concept Tarkir draft during pre-release weekend. Started recording a little bit late, but I'm taking the Abzan Falconer. Um, I haven't done this format a ton, but I do value the powerful monocolored cards because you don't want to commit yourself too early with a multicolored card. At least that's my reasoning. Could end up not being true as the format develops, but early in the format I'd like to be as the least bit greedy as possible to punish people who are going for the 3-color cards early. For our second pack, this pack's not very good. There's a removal spell, there's a value late game spell that I don't really want to take this early. The other thing to note about this format is that the enemy colors share 2 guilds with each other, so if we took something like Treasure Cruise, we'd be forced into Jeskai, whereas if we take the Throttle, which I think I'm going to take, we could be either Abzan or Mardu, so it gives us a little more options if we decide we want to play both of these cards. I could also take the land, but similar to taking a multicolored card, it's not guaranteed we're going to play it. So I'll just take the consistent card here. Alright, so I'm a big fan of Mardu Heartpiercer. It's one of the better raid cards, one of the better uncommons in the set, in my opinion. And again, we get a pack that's not very good. We have 2 cards for the Warrior deck. They're Raider Spoils and Rush of Battle. This guy Warrior? He's not. So that's something to keep in mind. If someone decides to go in on the Warrior deck, which is a black and white strategy, we might end up getting pushed out in the next pack, but don't think that's too likely. They're not great cards. They're only good in that deck, obviously. But yeah, I'm going to take the Heartpiercer. Hopefully this Ride Down comes back, but I'd be happy with the Leaping Master as well. Just try to get some aggressive cards. Oh boy. This is one of my favorite uncommons, Sultai Flare. This guy is just huge. I think I'm going to take him. Yeah, this pack again is not very good. There's like a decent green trick, but it's much worse than the Sultai Flare. And if it does turn out that we're being kicked out of our colors, I'd rather stay open. See, this is the other benefit of taking multicolored cards. Like if it ends up that we're not in one of these 3 colors, we can just jump ship fairly easily and not miss out on something too powerful that we can't cast. What do we have here? We've got a Sultai Scavenger, which is very good. I'm a big fan of black-green, whether it's Abzan or Sultai. Drafted it a couple times at my local shop. And the cards like Scavenger and Hooting Mandrills and Sultai Flare are great in that archetype. I also like the Tuskguard Captain, but he's not an essential piece. He's better in Abzan, where you have lots of things with +1 counters. Like if we do end up with the Falconer and whatnot, then it's going to end up being pretty good, but still not quite as good as the Scavenger, which is just consistently very powerful. At this point I'm looking to be either Abzan or Sultai, as I said. Here I'm just going to take the dual land. I think I definitely do want to be green-black at this point. Whether I'm white or blue to go along with it, it remains to be seen, but I am a big fan of fixing. And this pack is not amazing again. The Salgo Archer is decent, but I'd rather have the fixing, I think. Piercer is not looking too likely right now. We haven't seen any great red other than that. So this was, what was it, 3rd pick? Maybe people just don't value it high enough. But I do think this is one of the best red uncommons, if not the best. Maybe not as good as Aerostorm, but it's up there. So I could take another dual land. I think that's what I want to do. The alternative is Rite of the Serpent, and I'm still not sure how good this card is. The effect is very strong, but it is also expensive. We do have a Throttle, and there was another one of these going around. And if it turns out that black is open, which it looks like it is so far, what with such late removal spells, then I don't want to have two of these, so if we see one later we can pick it up and play it just fine, but I don't want to end up with too many of them when I can just get the free mana fixing now. Alright, more fixing. Kindred Warden, also not sure how good this thing is, but it's been okay in the games where I've seen it. I haven't run it myself yet. Seascraft is an okay sideboard card, but it's pretty terrible against like blue and black decks. But I am happy to have one of each dual land in my Abzan colors, assuming we end up in Abzan, of course, but I'm hoping to be, because our one white card is very powerful. And I don't like to squander my first picks, although I'm not against abandoning it if I have to. I could take another dual land, taps for two of our colors, so it's basically a jungle hollow. And we could end up being blue, you never know. But I think I'm just going to take the Woolly Loxodon. It's a very good common morph. It's just bigger than everything on the board generally. I've been pretty happy with it. Not like overly amazing, but it's good. I guess I'll take the Treasure Cruise. There's a chance I end up Sultai, like with a self-mill strategy, and then it could be like one of our better late game spells, so I'll hedge a little bit and take that. Not a big fan of this card, but there's a chance I play it, so I might as well pick it up. Put it in the sideboard for now, along with the Treasure Cruise. So we technically only have 5 playables right now, but I'm not really worried about that. I found that this is kind of a, like, well, for one, a slow format, but I'm a big fan of playing 18 lands in this format, so... Oh man, this is actually, I think, a pretty good morph. It's very underrated. It's very big. Sure. But yeah, so if we only want to play 18 lands, then we have one less playable to find, so I don't think this is a format where you're really hurting for playables. And if we did it right, then our color should be more open in the next pack, so let's see what we got. Alright. Couple good options. Looking at this Debilitating Injury, which is one of the better, probably the best cheap removal spell in the format. Just kill a morph on turn 2, or I guess turn 3. But Martyr Horde Chief is also very good, but it's better in an aggressive deck. It's fine as a 2-3, but I think there are better things to first pick. It's also an Abzan guide, which is obviously, if we're in Abzan, very good. But I found that there are usually lots of good things to do with your morphs on turn 5 and 6. Like, this is one of the better ones, but it's not so unique an effect that it's necessary, I think, to take so early, especially because it's common. Whereas Debilitating Injuries are harder to come by because more people are going to want them. Like, if there's another Abzan player at the table, they're probably going to take this out of this pack, but that's fine. I'm not, like, hurting to find them. Ooh. Foil Salgu Mauler. That's very interesting. Oh, maybe that isn't foil. It's just weird, multicolored. I don't think I'm taking that, even though it is one of the best morphs in the format. Could splash it if I'd, like, taken the Opulent Palace. Could still pick up the fixing for it. And I could just be Sultai still. Like, I have 2 white cards, and I'd like to be Abzan, but it's not out of the question to jump out of white into blue. This thing is really powerful, so I think I'm going to take it here, and at the very least hope to splash it. Okay, Abzan Charm. Oh man, just kidding. Murderous Cut. The best uncommon in the set. It's very unfortunate. Oh man, and a Necropolis Fiend. Alright, now this pack is actually insane now that I look at it. There's like 6 cards we want, if you include the Mind Rot. I'm pretty sure this thing is just like unbeatable if we can get it onto the board. So I think I have to take this. It feels really bad to pass a Murderous Cut and a non-color charm. No, it might be incorrect, but given that it's very early in the format, I'd like to try out the uncommon or the rares whenever I get the opportunity. Ionic Bloodkin or Bombkin, I think, is pretty one of the better 2-drops in white. So I'll pick it up. We don't have any 2-drops yet, so I'm happy to have it. And this pack is not very good. I'd like this Bitter Revelation, I think, since I've got a couple Delve cards now. But yeah, the Bombkin for sure. Okay, I'll take the Dual Land. Dual lands are just so good in the 3-color deck, especially the Tri-lands. Like, one of the more underrated uncommons for sure. Like, I take them very early. I value having good mana over having super powerful cards spread across too many colors. Again, that's possibly just personal preference, and that might end up changing as the format goes, but I think that I'd rather just have fixing. So now we have a choice between Feat of Resistance and Bitter Revelation, and Longshot Squad, but that's a distant third, I think. Maybe. This guy is pretty good. And we do have sort of an Outlast theme going, so maybe he's better in our deck than he would normally be. I think I'd rather have the Feat of Resistance, though. It's especially good in Abzan because, like I said, we have the Outlast theme. Okay. So, 2 options again. We can take a second Throttle, or we can take the Thornwood Falls, because I still kind of want to splash the Sagu Mauler. I think that's what I'm going to take, actually. We're sitting at 11 playables, which isn't a lot, but we are like halfway there, with more than half the draft to go, so I'm still not worried. So let's do it. It's the other benefit of taking dual lands early, is we can splash these cards more easily. And here I'll take a Savage Punch. Just a very good removal spell. We don't have a lot of 4-power guys yet, but we have like the Sultai Flare and the Absent Falconer, just like the decent power, high toughness creatures that are going to survive a fight with a morph or whatever. So I'm happy to have it. See if we can adjust our curve a little bit. This is a 3-drop, kind of. This is a 3-drop. This is a 3-drop, sort of. This is like a 6-drop, hopefully. If we can pick up the a Bitter Revelation or Rakshasa Secret or something. It's another good thing about cards like Savage Punch and Debilitating Injury, stuff like that, is they put themselves in the graveyard. So they help with your delve, as well as dealing with something on the board. The Absent Guide came back, which I'll take over another dual land. I also like Smoke Teller. I'm a fan of bears, just because they trade with morphs, but in this color combination, they're less necessary than usual. 2-drops, that is, because you're able to gum up the board in the mid-game rather than the early game, so you don't have to worry about the early onslaughts and falling behind and whatnot. Alright, I'll take a Rakshasa Secret over a bear. It's going to be very good with our Delve cards. Alright, Magic Online doesn't like when you put cards in the wrong converted mana cost slot, so I'll go back to normal. We wield a Throttle, which I guess I'll take over the second secret, even though I'm not against having 2 of these in my deck. I just think the second Throttle is better. I don't think I want to play against any of these, or play with any of them. That's one I'm most likely to play, I guess, if I'm short of playables, so. Alright, so we're at 15. What does this do? Whoa, this card is really good. What? 14th pick? This card is like super playable, and we might even play it because we're splashing. I'll go ahead and pause it here. Come back for pack number 3.